Cheers. I actually just started recording, so.
Perfect. You ready for this?
Let's rock and roll.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
You talking to me?
What? No.
That is one big pile of shit.
Hello!
Hey, does this Coke smell funny?
Oh, fuck! What's the procedure? Stay calm! Oh my God!
Boy, that escalated quickly.
You're goddamn right.
Surprise, motherfuckers. It's Al.
And this is Peej.
And welcome to Are You Still Watching? The show where we talk about movies and TV shows available to stream right now and tell you which ones are stars and which ones just plain suck.
Boom. We've got a terrific show today for you guys. Before we get into it, though, I mean, we got to address the elephant in the room. Forget her name. Reese. She got stabbed over the weekend. The actress.
Witherspoon?
No, it was with a knife.
That joke hits a lot less hard when we don't have a laugh track.
We can put it in post.
We'll put a laugh track in post.
Today's episode's theme is Zero to Hero. We're reviewing the movie Slumdog Millionaire. Spoiler alert, one of my favorite movies. You'll hear more about that in a little bit. But in tune with that theme, we want to focus on rags to riches, overcoming adversity, rising from the ghetto, becoming super rich. So that's the theme for today's today's episode: Zero to Hero, rags to riches stories. So big news today: Netflix is launching a new service called Netflix Party. Have you heard about this, Al?
I have a little bit.
Okay, so we didn't discuss this before the show, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. I think Xbox did it like years ago, and it didn't really catch on for what I think is kind of obvious reasons. But now with Corona and isolation, what they're doing is you can watch Netflix with people that aren't in your house, and they have like a little, Zoom meeting at the bottom where you can see everybody. And
okay.
What do you think? Are you for it? You against it?
Is that service made by Netflix themselves?
Netflix. Yeah. Yep.
So they're going to also be doing video chatting.
Apparently.
I mean, I guess that's the only part of it where I'd be a little bit nervous, because with the quarantine, I've been using a lot
Netflix
of video chat.
Chill.
Yeah. I mean, I've been using Facebook video chat, Snapchat, FaceTime, Slack, Zoom, and FaceTime and Zoom are the only two that like work. Like I can use them
like live,
easily and talk to people and hang out. I don't know about a company like Netflix, like who's never done that before, just implemented it. What if that's shitty? What if it messes with the stream? I'd like to watch Netflix at the same time as people, but I've already been doing that. Just FaceTime people and press play.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I've done it before too. I've only done it a couple times, but I actually did it on a headset on like a PlayStation party, and we just press play at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, we did it for a stupid show. It was that Norseman. I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix.
No.
Show didn't take too seriously, but buddy wanted me to watch it, so that's the way we did it. And I'm for it for shows like that. Shows that you're not taking too seriously, that you just want to grab a beer and reconnect with some buddies or whatever.
Yeah.
So for that I'm for it. For more serious stuff, like hey, if someone wants to hit me up and be like, "Yo, let's watch The Irishman," I'm really busy. I'm really busy.
I'm gonna handle that one on my own. I'd say the only genre that I think I couldn't watch with friends would be horror movies, because I'm not trying to have something pop out at me and then pop out at them like half a second later, or they go, "Oh shit," and then all of a sudden something jumps out at me. I think like comedy's fine. We all just kind of laugh on our own, so that's cool.
Agreed. And it's great watching comedies with people. I mean, laughter is contagious.
Yeah, that's like a social type of media too. Yeah.
Agreed. So like I watched the comedy last night. I watched it by myself and it was cool. I had a good time, but I would have had a lot more fun, I'm sure, if there was somebody right next to me and we were giggling.
How loud do you laugh when you're alone in your house watching TV?
I turn it up a little bit, yeah.
The neighbors hear you? giggling like an idiot down there.
My roommate's upstairs. What I have to do is I have to laugh hard enough so that he feels a little FOMO and thinks, "Oh, maybe I should go downstairs."
Okay. And if that doesn't work, then maybe try crying a little bit.
Exactly. It follows one after the other. You know, the laughter, then the crying. Yeah. It always works.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we got from Netflix. Again, not too sure about like the logistics, what they're doing for video, whatever. But we'll see. In other news, we have an update. You know, Coronas is obviously pushing back the release date for so many of our films that we've been excited for, that we're ready for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This one, I'm interested to hear how disappointed you are, if disappointed at all. Okay. So we have a pushback for July 29th, 2022 for next installment of Indiana Jones.
Oh, you can push that back until the end of the universe if you want. Like, you can just wait till the fucking Earth freezes over to release that movie. Yeah, Indiana Jones is like not on my radar anymore. I'm not very interested in that. And
Spielberg isn't even. He's not directing.
He's not even going to be a Spielberg directed. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert: that movie's going to fucking suck. Yeah. Right. I mean, the only thing saving it is
can't be any worse than the Skull movie, Crystal Skulls.
It can if it doesn't have Spielberg. Who knows who's going to take the helm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Harrison Ford's in it. 85.
You know what I love about Harrison Ford? He does this thing where he openly admits, like, I wanted them to kill me off after the first Star Wars. Yeah. And he talks about how he calls his own shots. And then he does all these shitty movies just for more money. I love the guy, but he really does do a lot of movies for money that are garbage. I don't.
I know. Yeah, 100%. And it's hard to differentiate between his shtick and what he actually thinks, because he has that dry brand of comedy, and I have heard that interview where he's like, I wish they killed me off and all this stuff. But he comes back all the time. He's in all the Star Wars, you know, like he's not saying no. He could have.
He worries me sometimes that he could be kind of like one of the sad clowns of Hollywood.
He could De Niro out and just take any movie that they offer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the whole shtick about his dry humor and like his I don't give a shit about what movie I do is just, maybe it's just him admitting that he actually doesn't give a fuck about what movie he does if they pay him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think in terms of Indiana Jones, not only was The Crystal Skull not a good movie, but that kind of movie, like the silly, corny adventure, it is kind of dated. So you have to crush it if you want to make a good one. You can't just make an okay one anymore. It's just not going to work anymore. And I bet that's what the next one's going to be. That's my 2 cents. Do you have any more news that could maybe cheer me up?
No, so that's the end of the news.
Okay, cool. Today's movie review is for the movie Slumdog Millionaire. Slumdog came out on Christmas Day back in 2008. It is exactly 2 hours long, and you can currently stream it on HBO. I had actually never seen Slumdog Millionaire before this week, but it was on Peej's list of awesome movies to stream right now, so I thought it sounded like a good idea. And spoiler warning, we both watched this movie last week. We talked about it on the last episode, so we're going to be spoiling everything. We're going to be giving away plot details and just talking in depth. If you haven't seen the film, skip ahead to the time below on the screen. And if you have seen the film, then join us on our spoiler-filled review.
If you haven't seen this movie, pause this podcast right now, go to your TV and put on HBO and watch it. It's great.
Slumdog Millionaire is directed by Danny Boyle and co-directed by Lovely and Tandon. It stars Dev Patel, Frida Pinto, and I'm going to fucking butcher this guy's name, Saurabh Shukla. I hope I said that right.
No, that's
not even close. What is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. In Slumdog Millionaire, we follow a young man from Mumbai as he is interrogated by police after being suspected of cheating on India's version of the famous game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. During the interrogation, Jamal, played by Dev Patel, reflects on his life from growing up in the slums, narrowly escaping a dangerous crime ring, and finally making his way onto the game show. Each beat of his story explains how he knew the answers to the game show's unlikely questions, but as his life story unravels, we learn that his true motivation was not money all along, but instead the love of his life, a girl from the slums who had been torn from him years before.
Latika.
Latika. No, I did it all for Latika. Let's get into the reviews, dude. Tell me what you think first about Slumdog Millionaire.
Okay, so I mean, obviously I recommended this movie. It was part of my recommendation last week. So I loved it. I love this movie. I mean, I would love to walk the fence a little bit more and tease it, but it's just one of my favorite movies. It really is.
Yeah.
I recently watched it for this episode, but I've seen this movie probably dozens of times. It's one of those that I watch over and over again. I only have a couple of those, but when I do, I really hammer them home, which is weird, but whatever.
Yeah. This was one of your huge recommendations.
Yeah, but I mean, really from start to finish with this one, when you start out with the two kids from the slum, first of all, just looking at that slum is incredible. And you're like, wow, people really live like that.
Yeah, it gives you such a good insight.
Yeah. And those two actors are actually from the slum. Those are real.
Yeah, I heard they had to have like police protect them for a long time and move them to a different place after the movie because they're like now popular movie stars. They can't be in the slums with all these other people surviving.
They won an Oscar.
Like they're gonna be treated terribly in there.
Yeah, so I thought those two really stole the movie at the beginning as you watch them go to the orphanage, which you later find out is like a begging enslavement / prostitution enslavement like ring or whatever.
Yeah.
And also, shed some light on that, which obviously, I mean, I don't know if it's obvious, but I didn't know about that. And I bet most people didn't know like all of the things that are going on in that country, which is obviously sinister.
Yeah.
And then I thought it did some things really well. Like the film continues with a different set of actors at a different age. Yeah. A lot of movies try to do stuff like that. This had three sets of actors playing the same character at three different times in their life. And I thought it accomplished that better than any film I've ever seen.
I thought that all six of the actors, actually no, 9, right? Because Latika also had 3 actors, and all 9 of them nailed their parts. I don't know how they did it. And also another thing, like Indians, man, apparently they're getting sexier because they had like just a never-ending supply of Indian like supermodels to have in this show. All the actors were like really attractive people, even like the police chief and stuff. I'm like, damn, dude, what's going on in India these days?
Yeah,
they had all like incredible actors. Yeah, it was great. Great dancers too.
Yeah, which was an interesting little flavor. Obviously that's pretty prevalent in Bollywood. So they threw a couple homages to that in there.
Yeah.
Also, something that I am surprised that not more directors or editors kind of experiment with this. But I thought that, like, in a small thing, but the subtitles were just a little bit different than every other film I've seen.
I like when subtitles are active like that.
Yeah, I thought that they were cool. But my absolutely favorite part about this movie is the fact that it's completely spontaneous. It's random. You could give a million monkeys, a million typewriters, and a million years, and they'll never punch out the plot to this film. It's just unique, and that's how
super
life
unique,
is.
yeah.
And I feel like that's how the best movies are. Just you'll never be able to guess the plot. It's just completely random because that's what happens in life, and that's what I look for in movies.
Part of me thinks that if obviously, like, Hollywood is one of the epicenters and always has been for movies, so we have a ton of American stories out there to choose from. Part of me wonders if Hollywood had sprouted in India and India was the epicenter of movies, then how many of this type of story would have been told by now? But it hadn't been told yet. It was kind of like this underserved narrative. And like you said, for us, exactly. Like the slums were done super well. All the different like commentaries on the culture and like socioeconomic and political situations in India, those were all like so compelling to me because I'd never seen them before and so original. I love that they did that. And I just feel like it's been too long that we haven't been told about this whole world and this story. I'd love to see more of it.
Agreed.
Do you have any cons for the movie?
Not really.
No. Oh man, this is like your flawless one.
I mean, it's certainly not flawless, but I mean, yeah, I don't really have too much negative to say about this film. I mean, it didn't lose my interest. It kept me the entire time after every watch. Obviously, I said I watched it a bunch of times. And you keep coming back for more. At least I do. You know, I'm noticing different stuff that I've never noticed before on a new watch. The acting, like I said,
I'm sure.
is fabulous. Salim, when he's older and he's so fucking ruthless, and you're just like, wow.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I thought Salim was probably my favorite character of them all.
Yeah,
he had a lot of depth. Do you want to give me your score now, or do you want to wait until I talk about the movie a little bit and then we can compare?
I'll give you my score now.
Okay.
Just my Peej rating is a 9.3.
Okay. I think you're going to be very interested in what my rating is. I'm glad you recommended this movie for me to watch. I know that when it comes to like modern movies, you have a pretty good radar on what movies are really good that have been put out recently. I never saw Slumdog Millionaire. Can I just let you know, like, I think Slumdog Millionaire was mismarketed to me. I thought, like, from the trailers that I saw years ago, I thought this was like a feel-good movie. Like, the trailers had the dance scene in it. I remember specifically.
Yeah, I kind of remember that too. And that's
first
like
of all, that was fucking.
Movie.
Yeah, that was a stupid idea to do in the trailers. I loved it at the end of the movie because it's during the credits. It's not actually like a scene. I thought, I'm like, oh, is this movie is this a musical? Is it a love story? No, dude, it's like a gangster like crime story.
Everything.
I love it, and I think different trailers would have sold me on watching this movie 10 years ago. But I'm glad I finally did. And another thought that I had was that Slumdog Millionaire is basically the Indian version of Joe Dirt. And it follows the same plot points. He loses his parents as a little kid. He's on Joe Dirt, he's on the radio show. And in Slumdog, he's in the jail recounting his story until he barely gets back with the woman he loves. And then finally they get ripped once more away.
Brandy?
And then we catch back up to the modern day when he goes back in, like, you know, he rejoins the storyline to like meet up with her in the real sequence of timelines in the movie. And the whole world is watching them get back together. Just, dude, it was so funny how Joe Dirtish this movie was to me.
I mean, now that you mention it, I can't believe that they skipped over David Spade and went with Dev Patel. I mean,
it's crazy. It's crazy. They didn't even have Kid Rock playing as Salim. Okay, that jokes aside, for me, I thought that some of the best parts of the movie were Salim's story, like his evil brother. Such a good character, dude. Fucking awesome.
I'm gonna take prejudice to the word you said, evil, because this show has layer. You know, it's not that simple. You know, this is Game of Thrones-esque, where there's a lot of complexity here.
Yeah,
you know, he's not an evil character. He's his brother, and there's so much going on there.
Another pro that I had with the movie was that every character has a gray moral compass. Like even the evil, like I keep saying evil. They do define bad guys from good guys, but everybody's gray. I forget his name, but the crime lord who's running the little kid scamming ring.
Yeah, I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about.
He, first of all, great actor. The scene when he's blinding that one kid so that he'll make more money singing. And then he needs Salim's help. And I forget, he like gives Salim a drink or something like that in there. And I just loved how he was in the middle of doing this terrible act and still showed some humanity, some respect for somebody. So it's like, you're never going to get a fully evil character in this movie. You're always going to have people kind of here and there, you know? And every time you think somebody's just downright evil, they show you that they still have the ability to make good choices as well. The story of their life was so fucking awesome. And I loved how Salim died while giving his life to let Latika run free. Because I really felt like the whole time I was watching this movie, I thought that was the real narrative, was that Salim wanted to protect his brother ever since they saw their mom get killed in that riot scene in the beginning, which is like so fucking good. Like the attack on the Muslims is so awesome. and like felt so real. And ever since then, Salim has just decided, I'm going to be ruthless. I'm just going to protect Jamal at all costs. But what Salim doesn't realize is that the one thing that Jamal wants was Latika. And so he keeps shooing her away the whole movie. And I'm like, the only way that this movie's going to resolve itself is if Salim gives his life to free Latika.
Yeah.
And it kept getting closer and closer to doing that. And I'm like, dude, if you don't do this, then this guy's going to like not resolve. I don't want Salim to just end this story evil and fucked up. And he finally does it in like the most badass way. And the scene, like after teasing me with that for 2 hours and then they let it happen. I'm just like, oh yeah. Diet of the cat.
100%. And that scene, I love when movies do this. I can't think of another example of a movie that does this, but that scene when they meet each other on the skyscraper and you see the main characters, Jamal, just tackle Salim and they fall off the building and then they die and you're like, what?
I also,
but then it was all in his imagination, and it's just that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
it's like how often do you feel that in life? And it was just cool to see,
Well, I also like how right after he comes back from the flashback, okay, it's a flashback. All right, thanks. And then I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's still gonna be just a pussy and he's not gonna do anything to Salim, but he does walk up and punch him in the face.
Yeah, he punches him.
I'm like, good. That made me feel so great because Salim needed a good punch in the face. The movie said like, yeah, well, this movie gives the audience what they want a lot, but in the best ways. Yeah. They're not just pandering and making it easy to watch. They tease you a lot and they make you suffer. And they do have a big emotional range, which I also loved. Like, I'll take it back, the blinding scene. When he's blinding the kid, I was like, my heart sunk. It was so stressful. I'm like, oh my God, they gotta run, dude. They're gonna blind Jamal. And then they start running, and like, I mean, this movie's not like a gritty horror movie, right? So they can't keep me in that zone. So instead, then they flip on this awesome, like, cool techno soundtrack, and all of a sudden it's like this Bollywood chase scene through the woods, and it was great. I wasn't even mad. So I love the range, and they flip it so much.
Absolutely. I mean, the theme of this week's episode is rags to riches, zero to hero, and this film had the quintessential factor that you need in that type of film, which is an awesome music montage. This film had
the train scene was fantastic.
Exactly.
When they're playing Paper Planes,
when they're playing MIA Paper Planes, and that transition has them transition to the new actors, the new age.
Yeah, how cool. They roll through the dirt and then when they unroll from the dirt, they're older.
Just perfect, in my opinion.
I did have some cons with the movie, just because I'm a nitpicker, not because I really hate the movie, but I do have to tell you the two cons that I had. One,
what do we got?
I really thought the police interrogation scenes were the weakest part of the movie. Every time it was Jamal getting interrogated by the police, and I understand that the way that they wrote the story, this was a very important thing to see, was him explaining to the police what's happening. But I found that the scenes were just weaker than the rest of the movie. Every time they were in that police station, I'm like, dude, bring me back to the flashbacks, man. Like, fuck this story of this guy just talking to the guy who owns Jurassic Park. Like, bring me back to him escaping from the crime boss and stuff. And I think the biggest reason why I didn't like the police interrogation parts is because I felt like the movie was realistic enough. I mean, it was corny. It had its corny parts, but it was realistic enough.
Definitely.
Except during the police interrogation parts. You needed some suspension of disbelief, man. They were literally torturing him. Tell us how you know the answers. Like, you cheated. And then he's like, no, I fell in love with a girl and we left her behind off a train. And they're like, oh, well, I guess that sounds like it makes a lot of sense. It's like, what kind of police officer would believe his story? His story sounds completely made up. So to me, I'm like, okay, that burst the realism for me.
And then the cop mentions, he's like, you realize you're explaining this to me and you just admitted to murder while trying to avoid fraud. And he's like, oh, shit. Well, I don't lie. He's like, well, maybe you should.
Yeah. Or there was one where he was talking about, like, I don't know what part it was. Maybe it was when he was telling him that he like swam through a pile of shit or something. Like, the police officer's like, well, you're way too truthful here to be lying to me. And I'm like, that's not how police work. You don't tell them one thing that's truthful and they go like, well, if you told me your deepest, darkest secret, I guess you must be not lying about the crime. Like,
yeah, right.
But they had to do it to tell the story, so I'll give them a hall pass on that. I also thought on that Joe Dirt comparison, this movie became so fucking cliche in the third act at the end. when Latika is running through the street looking for the cell phone, because she knew, obviously, he was going to call the cell phone that was in her car. She's running through, and they're playing the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire soundtrack. All of a sudden, they're turning the Millionaire soundtrack into a movie score. And then all of India is suddenly infatuated with this guy because he was falsely arrested. Because, you know, all throughout the movie, we're told that false arrests happen like every single week in India. But then this one guy who was falsely arrested apparently is the hero of the country. And there's like 8 billion Indians on their rooftops watching TVs like it's the World Cup. Go, Jamal. I didn't need any of that. I love Jamal.
Well, they're excited
I love
because
Latika.
he's from the ghetto.
I get it. I understand the whole story, but I just thought it was extremely cliche, and like I didn't even need it. That's like if it helped me get more invested, I wouldn't have minded. But it didn't.
Yeah, but at that point, it was already.
Yeah, I'm like, I already love these characters. I love this movie. I love the story. I don't need anyone else to give a shit. I don't need all of India to care. But maybe if I was from India, I would like it more. I would be like, yeah, it's a pride thing.
Yeah, I disagree. I thought it was an interesting pull from the director to get us a little bit more invested, and I feel like it's an easy way to do that. You know, give hype from other people, and then you're like, okay, there's more at stake here. You know, other people are watching this too.
Yeah.
You know,
can we talk about how after they get together at the train station at the end, just is that the world's longest kiss scene, like in history? They like it was so Bollywood. It was like 5 minutes long. They're like first they almost kissed and then they kissed the cheek and then they're like sniffing each other's necks for like a minute and a half. that was one of the longest kiss scenes I've ever seen in my life. But it's fine because the movie was so good. I was like into it. I was like, all right.
Yeah,
make out, go fuck. I don't care.
Yeah, which almost made me feel like, and you asked me for a con earlier, and I didn't have one, but now, you know, if I have to give a con, I will say, like, if there's one thing on the rewatch that I'm like, hey, wait a minute, it'd probably be Latika, you know, because Jamal, obviously, like, his whole life is to get this girl back.
Oh, when she said no to him in the drug dealer's house, he was like, let's run. And she was like, no, I can't. I was like, you bitch, you stupid bitch. I was so pissed.
Like, do you know what this guy's done for you?
Yeah, this guy, like, his brother will kill this guy.
Yeah, and then I thought, you know, maybe I'm looking at this from a different perspective. You know, I'm looking at this from Jamal's perspective.
Right.
Think about Latika.
She's been basically a slave her whole life.
Did Jamal just friend zone the shit out of himself? And, like...
she actually wants the drug life?
Maybe she wants Salim because she told him to fuck off when Salim was there. I mean, I know that's a weird, like,
dude, that scene was so fucked. I was like so pissed. I like how much you learn to hate Salim. Like, I really wanted to just kill this guy when he did that, when he like stole her
definitely.
at the hotel.
You're like, all right, now this is going to be about revenge. It's going to be some.
There's nothing better than a character you just hate. Like, oh my god, I love when I hate a character.
All right, well, I'm more than intrigued. Tell me, Al.
I'm interested.
How's this falling on the
allometer?
Allometer.
So originally,
do you use the allometer when you're reviewing a movie or when you get a sunburn?
So I get a lot of sunburns. All right. You notice how dark my room is right now. I have to block it out.
You look like you're revenging the Sith in there.
Yeah, I'm like the guy from the Benchwarmers, dude, Nick Swardson. On the allometer, I was originally going to give this movie an A-, but after a few days
But then you realize that's not how we do review ratings?
No, a few days after watching the movie, I thought about all like the beautiful colors that the scenes had, all the wonderful framing, the music, all the creativity in the movie. I'm like, damn, it's not just about a great story. I actually also loved the cinematography in this movie and the editing and the producing. So I had to bump it up to an A. I'm going to give it a 9.4.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
I really like this movie. I could totally see myself watching this a year from now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I've watched it dozens of times, which is kind of embarrassing, but whatever.
Well, this movie crushed it. I mean, it did win Best Picture, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
In 2008, and it came out at Christmas, so they fucking knew that they were going to win Best Picture. The budget of this movie was $15 million, which is totally understandable for the movie they made. But the gross was this is ridiculous. The gross in the United States was like 107 million. But I don't care because I want to know how much money the movie really made. And this movie was an Indian movie. So, of course, worldwide gross was bigger. The worldwide gross from a $15 million budget was $378 million.
Damn.
So they netted
That's not a bad
$350 million at the box office.
What was the last movie we reviewed? $5 million budget, $9.7 $9.7 million gross.
$4.5 million on Moon, and this movie.
And what's the net on this one? Oof.
The net was 350, just about.
That's not bad.
Obviously, it was loved by critics. It was a score of 90 for the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and 90 for the critics score. So, and I really think this is one of those movies where the audience and the critics would both agree, which I like. I like a movie that critics love, and you don't need to just make an artsy fartsy movie that regular people hate. It's not always the case. Yeah. Loved it. Recommend it. If you just listened to us spoil the entire fucking movie, just still go watch it. We want to watch it again. Yeah. You should watch it again.
I can guarantee you I'm going to watch this movie again. But moving on, we do have some more show to cover. The theme of this episode is Rags to Riches. Al and I have been immersed in Zero to Hero stories and are about to give you our Mount Rushmore, our 4 favorites of that genre. Perfect. So I'll start. I obviously recommended Slumdog Millionaire for this week, and so for the Zero to Hero movies, I don't think you'll be too surprised. That is right on top of my Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. So Slumdog Millionaire number 1, number 2 Limitless, number 3 Rocky, 1, and number 4 Forrest Gump.
Oh man, I didn't even think of that one, and that is a great one, Forrest Gump. Wait, you had Rocky, Forrest Gump, Limitless. Now that movie, Limitless, like I didn't think it was the best movie in the world, but also I kind of liked it and I watched it a few times. So I don't know. I think I'd give Limitless like almost just like a 7 out of 10, but I keep watching it again. It's just an interesting premise. So sometimes the idea of a movie is so good that I'll just watch the movie to see the idea play out.
I thought it was great. I loved Limitless. I thought the directing was amazing. It's one of those movies that's so clean. Similar to like The Social Network or even like The Martian, which we talked about last week. Very clean. The directing is nice and concise.
It moves right along.
Bradley Cooper, come on. Robert De Niro. Obviously during that time he was signing up for any movie that would give him a paycheck. Luckily this one was a good one.
It turned out all right. And I like your list this week. I like it. Forrest Gump, I think your list is better than mine now that you read it.
Did I steal any from you? Because I don't think we've overlapped on Mount Rushmore yet.
Yes, we're overlapping today.
Okay.
So let me give you my list. And I didn't know I could include Slumdog. I would if I knew that I could put today's movie in the list. But I did 4 unique ones. And I'm more on the Zero to Hero side. So my first movie is just a comedy that I just love. And I've seen it like 3 times. And it never fails to make me laugh and have a good time. Feel good movie. Get Smart. With Steve Carell.
With Steve Carell?
Yeah. Nice. He starts out as, this dorky loser and ends as the hero. And he does a good job. Number 2 is going to be Hercules, the Disney movie.
The Disney one? Wow.
I fucking love that movie, dude. I'm a huge fan of Disney movies.
So it's funny that you should pick Hercules because I think there's a line in Hercules. It's like Zero to Hero.
Oh, there's a whole song. I mean, how do you think I thought of this list? Entirely on songs. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Rocky. Rocky was like an obvious one to me. I love that movie. And
so
it's
obvious.
It is the Zero to Hero movie.
Perfect. And if we're talking montages with great songs, I mean, come on. I mean, this is where that was born.
Greatest montage of all time. And my last one, I have a tie kind of. I can't decide. I'm just going to put both of them out there because they're pretty much super similar. They came out in the same year, I think, or the same 2 years. Okay. Another kids movie.
Wait, are you about to put 2 in your last spot for Mount Rushmore?
I'm just going to put a tie out there and let the audience decide which one is better than the others.
Ooh,
I can't decide.
If you do that.
Can I give one an honorable mention?
Yes.
Okay,
I have a couple honorable mentions.
Okay. If I have to choose just one.
You do. That's,
You're fucking fired if you put 5 movies on your Rushmore. My 4th movie then is going to be the Lego movie, which, just like my honorable mention, Zootopia, both super similar movies. both movies that I thought were gonna suck when I first saw them. I watched them with my girlfriend. I was like, oh yeah, this movie's gonna blow. It's just gonna be funny to watch. It's a kid's movie. They both rocked. The Lego Movie and Zootopia are actually awesome movies. I think anybody would love those. And like, I would put them both on my Rushmore if this wasn't some sort of dictatorship.
Yeah, so I haven't seen Lego Movie, so that is on my list. I will add
Let me
it.
recommend it to you right now. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That was better. I liked it more than Zootopia even.
Zootopia, I thought was pretty good. I saw Zootopia in theaters actually.
Good.
So,
Good.
yeah.
Were you alone?
Best part is I was not alone.
Okay, with a trench coat.
No, I was not. Best part of Zootopia was the sloth.
Yeah, the sloth at the DMV.
So funny. They
So
need to
good.
make a spin-off with just the sloth.
Yeah, that's true. Some sort of actually, speaking of spin-offs, I never had seen Boss Baby in my life, and this had the same effect. Bass Baby was actually a pretty good movie. I thought it was going to be garbage, and they had a spin-off
I hadn't
show.
seen it, so yeah.
So I had to babysit my nephews who love this movie, so we watched Boss Baby, and then we watched Boss Baby Back in Action, which is 2 seasons long on Netflix right now, and I watched all of it in one weekend. It's actually pretty good, dude. Boss Baby's a decent program.
So when is
If you're
the
8.
Boss Baby exclusive podcast coming out? That you
Yeah,
only talk about Boss
so
Baby.
I'm going to announce that someday in the future. We don't want to spoil
Okay,
things
okay.
for the fans.
Okay. Awesome. All right, so we do have another great segment for you coming up. Before we get to that, we do want to give a special shout out to one of our sponsors. Vandalay Industries is happy and a proud sponsor of the #1 architecture school and design scholarship in the country, contributing over to $1.5 million in 2019 and gearing up for over $2 million in 2020 to over 20 different applicants. In order to be considered for the Vandalay Industries School of Design Scholarship, please visit vandalayindustries.com, put in promo code ASYW to get your application sent to the top of the list.
All right, with that out of the way, it's time for trivia. Today's trivia, we're going to do a little bit different. Rather than just talking about a couple of trivia facts, we're going to play 2 truths and a lie. I'm going to run through 3 trivia facts with PJ. 2 of them are true, and 1 of them is a bold-faced lie, and then it's up to him to guess which one that is. PJ, are you ready?
I'm really excited. I'm excited, yeah.
Are you ready to play? I wish I could do an impression of the guy from Millionaire from the movie.
Are you ready to play? Yeah.
What a player! All right.
The time.
Here we go. Trivia number 1.
Okay. Wait, I have a question.
Oh,
Is
what's your
this
question?
0 to hero trivia or just general trivia?
Actually, today all my trivia is about Slumdog because I know you love the movie.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to try to
Awesome.
catch you in a lie on that movie.
Well,
Here
I
we
might
go.
know it, so we'll see.
I got 3 trivia facts. Number 1.
All right, what do we got?
Number 1, the actor who played the host of India's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in the movie was actually a host of the show prior to his acting career. Number 2, the pile of shit that young Jamal jumps into in the beginning of the movie was actually a combination of peanut butter and chocolate. It was entirely edible. And number 3, before Fox funded a worldwide release, Warner Brothers almost released Slumdog Millionaire straight to DVD. Which one of those 3 is a lie?
Interesting. All right. So, I mean, I've seen this movie a million times.
Yeah.
I'm a movie nerd, so
Yeah, you
I've
read
definitely
all
looked
about
up the IMDb trivia.
Oh no! He knows it.
Well, it was probably a while ago. So I do know that host is actually a host. So I know that. We can get rid of section A. I know that's true. I know that the host in the show is actually a real host.
Do you want to use a lifeline?
I'm gonna do 50-50 for the no. So okay, so the next one was a combination of, what was it, chocolate and peanut butter?
Yep, combination of chocolate and peanut butter. It was edible.
And then what was the last trivia?
Before Fox Searchlight funded a worldwide
Straight to
release.
DVD.
Yeah, Warner
Ooh.
Brothers almost released it straight to DVD.
I mean, I feel like it's got to be, the second one has got to be true, and the last one's got to be fake. It had to have been delicious.
All
I mean,
right.
it wasn't jumped in real shit.
Are you
and
ready?
there's no way that you're gonna put this straight to DVD. So tell me, Al.
All right. Which one are you saying? The third one is false?
The third one is a lie. Yeah,
Okay.
that it was gonna go straight to
Final
DVD.
answer?
Final answer.
You, sir, You couldn't be more wrong. I got you good. All right. Are you ready to hear the truth?
Yeah.
Number
This is
3.
actual shit.
Before Fox Searchlight funded a worldwide release, Warner Brothers almost released Slumdog Millionaire straight to DVD. That's actually 100% true. They didn't
and they would have missed out on $350 million net profit.
That is true. Like, I feel like that's the value of like an entire movie production company in one movie that they could have just washed down maybe it was because it was too Bollywood. I don't know. Number 2, the pile of shit that young Jamal jumps into at the beginning of the movie was actually made out of peanut butter and chocolate. That's true.
What?
I fooled you. The third one, the first one, I should say, the actor who played the host of India's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was actually a host of the show prior to his acting career. That is false, and I got you with a trick question. A previous host of Millionaire was in the movie, but he was not the host of Millionaire in the movie. Instead, he was the famous actor who arrived in the slums via helicopter in the beginning of the movie. That guy actually is super famous in India.
I know that he's super famous, but he's super famous as an actor, right?
Yes, and he originally started his career as a host on Millionaire. Additionally, the man who played the host of Millionaire in the movie was once a contestant on the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and he won 5 million rupees.
No way. Okay.
And can I tell
he is Jamal.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Because I think he's from the slums too. Because I like I said, I've looked at the trivia before,
right?
And I'm pretty sure he was like from the slums.
So the reason they had him, the reason they had him be the host in the movie is because he had a super similar story to like the actual story they're telling in the movie.
Very interesting. Okay. Well, next week I'm gonna fool you.
All right. If you fool me, I'm gonna be pissed.
a lot at stake here, guys. A lot at stake. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for that trivia, Al. Before we leave you guys, which we are about to, we do want to leave you with a couple things for the weekend for stuff to watch, stuff that we're watching that we haven't seen that we're trying out, and stuff that we have seen that we're sure that you're gonna like, and that we're definitely gonna recommend. So I'll start here. I'll let you guys know what is in my queue for stuff to watch that I haven't seen. So in my queue is coming to HBO on, I believe, April 16th, mid-April, and it is It, Chapter 2. Stephen King. So yet. I have not. I saw the first one, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I liked it. It's a fun movie.
You guys know I'm not a big horror guy. I'm not a big comic book guy. Not a big, sci-fi guy, really. I really liked the first It. Not the first It, the new It, the reboot, whatever.
yeah.
I thought it was really good, and I was like scared and uncomfortable, which I never am during movies. And like I said before, it's not that I don't like horror. It's not done very well very often. And I thought the reboot of It, the most recent It, besides the sequel, I thought they did a really good job. So
yeah, and Bill Skarsgård crushed it as the clown.
Yeah. So that's in my queue. Something that I want to recommend that I have seen before is The Nice Guys. Now, I believe that's in HBO as well. It stars Russell Crowe and who's it? Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Very underrated. A movie that kind of slipped by. I feel like not a lot of people noticed it. But it's on HBO right now. Go watch it. You won't regret it.
Yeah, I think that movie was criminally underrated, man. Nobody even talks about it, but it was awesome.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, what do you got?
For my list this week, my recommendation is going to be Minority Report, which is currently available on Netflix. That movie's awesome, man. You love that movie too.
I love Minority Report. We're definitely gonna have to do like a movie set in the future episode at one time, and I'll give you a little spoiler. Minority Report might sneak up into my Mount Rushmore. Maybe it's really great.
Yeah, that movie's a real fun one. It's kind of like one of the movies that after you're done watching it, you just think about the premise for a long time. Like, man, 100%. What if that really happened? Then what what would we do?
The thing that I think about most from that movie is the way that cars work. They all operate on like a conveyor belt, and I'm just waiting. When are we gonna get that?
Yeah, they just hook them up and you fly to where you're going.
Yeah.
My watch list for this week, which actually is also going to be both of our movies for next episode, is a huge movie that neither of us have seen yet, that we're so excited to see. It's going to be the movie Parasite, which is coming to Hulu on April 8th. Just a couple days until it comes out. I can't wait to see it. I missed it in the theaters. How could I miss it in the theaters?
I don't know. It was cold.
It was cold. And then everybody got sick.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get to see it in the theaters, but I do get to see it in my home theater. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, now I get to see it on my own little TV.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, is it a Korean film?
I'm pretty sure. And I have no idea what it's about. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually think it's also a movie about the slums. So,
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to put it back in, retroactively put it into my Mount Rushmore.
But unfortunately, Zero to Hero is this week's theme. So please come back and join us again for another fun conversation about movies next week when we talk about Best Picture winning movies. Parasite won Best Picture last year, and obviously Best Picture winners is just a full lineup of fantastic movies. I'd like to hear your Mount Rushmore on what you think were the Best Picture winners, and I'll tell you the correct Rushmore on what movies were the best pictures.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. This is going to be like the creme de la creme episode. Obviously, Best Pictures. Maybe we'll also do like a little honorable mentions for like movies that got snubbed for Best Picture or something like that. Very excited for next week's show.
All right. Well, everybody, if you're watching this episode, which I'm sure one of you is, go check out Parasite on Hulu on April 8th and come back next week and listen to us rant and rave about how much we liked it, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, no promises.
Fingers crossed. That's
all right,
it for this
thanks
week.
again, guys. This is Are You Still Watching? Where we're still watching, and if you're not.
Peace out.